What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the NorCal Sports Report. Today, we're doing something that we have not done in a long time. We just got away from it, didn't have much time, but we're doing it this week, and we'll probably do it next week as well. NFL Week 17 picks. It's hard to believe we're already in Week 17. I mean, I just remember Week 1. But we're already in Week 17. It kicks off Thursday, and let's get into these picks. Could be a very big week of football. A lot of big games this week, including one game that you can always see, Miami-Baltimore. We'll get to that when we get there. But let's get into the picks. So the first game of Week 17, the last Thursday Night Football game also of the season. Prime Video. It's a terrible game. Jets, who are playing for nothing right now. Maybe they're playing for a pick. They're eliminated for playoffs contention against the Cleveland Browns, who, believe it or not, they can't just win the AFC North. They have a chance if things go their way and they win out. They have a chance to win the entire AFC. And Joe Flacco has been nothing short of remarkable for Cleveland. Well, he wasn't even their backup. He was like their third string. And now he's just balling out, and they're not going to lose to the Jets. Jets are terrible. I don't even know. I think it's Zach Wilson. Then maybe Tim Boyle. I have no clue. It doesn't matter. Browns win. Their defense probably even going to shut out the Jets. Browns win by a bunch, and they'll good week. I think the chance to win the AFC. Next game we got here, Panthers versus Jaguars. Panthers had a good week last week. I mean, they lost to the Packers, but they put up 30 points. Bryce Young finally may have figured himself out. He may be out of his own head, which I think is his issue. But they're in Jacksonville. Jacksonville's struggling a bit, but Panthers are still a bad team. They're still not good. Jacksonville's got to figure it out at some point. They're not going to lose to Carolina at home. Give me Jacksonville to beat the Panthers. Technically we should have done this first, but we got Saturday Night Football as well on ESPN, Cowboys versus Lions. If this game was in Detroit, I'd take Detroit. But since this game's in Dallas, I'm take Dallas. Dallas is I don't think they're beatable at home. I don't think you can beat Dallas when they're at home. But when they're on the road, they are really bad. But since they're at home here against Detroit, the last home game of the regular season, maybe they'll have one in the postseason, maybe not, probably not. But they're going to beat Detroit. They're not going to lose to Detroit. If it was in Detroit, though, I would pick Detroit, but this is a huge game, especially for the 49ers. If Detroit loses, that helps them out a bunch. So I'm rooting for Dallas, definitely. And I think Dallas will also hang on, and beat Detroit. Now we get to the Sunday game. Should have waited to do this one. Next game we got here is Raiders versus Colts. Raiders are coming off a huge Christmas Day win against the Chiefs at Arrowhead. It was a huge win. They haven't beat the Chiefs in such a long time. They finally beat them on Christmas Day. They didn't just beat them. They embarrassed the Chiefs. And the Colts, on the other hand, are coming off a very bad loss to the Atlanta Falcons. So, yeah. So this game's a coin flip to me. This game can really go either way. I can see Vegas. I think Vegas is going to win, first of all. But I can see this game going either way. This is a coin flip game to me. I think Vegas will add on to the momentum and keep their playoff hopes alive another week. I don't know the full scenario, but Vegas can still make the playoffs. Next game we got here, the game of the week, most definitely, maybe the game of the year. Definitely a battle for maybe even the first seed in the AFC. The Miami Dolphins versus the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens had a statement win on Monday, I'll tell you that much. They destroyed the San Francisco 49ers, who I thought were one of the best teams in NFL history. Maybe the Ravens are one of the best teams in NFL history. That was a complete butt whooping. And the Dolphins also just had a big one. They beat the Dallas Cowboys. It was in Miami. They won on a game-winning field goal. But Dolphins and Cowboys are two very similar teams. I don't think Miami can beat a good team on the road. I don't. Baltimore's too good for them. If it was in Miami, different story. I'd maybe consider picking Miami, but it's in Baltimore. Give me Baltimore. It'll be a high-scoring game, I think. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I think Baltimore's going to win and probably win the AFC as well. Next game we got here, Patriots versus Bills. I think the Bills are going to beat the Patriots. Bailey Zappi's been pretty good. They just beat the Broncos. Bills are coming off the win against the Chargers. It wasn't a nice win, but a win's a win. If they win, the Dolphins lose. That game next week for Buffalo, Miami, will be for the AFC East. But I think Buffalo will win and beat New England. Next game we got here, Titans versus Texans. Titans aren't really playing for anything. They're starting Ryan Tannehill again. Give me Houston. Titans are already eliminated. Texans are playing for something. Maybe C.J. Stroud will be back as well. Sunday, maybe not. Don't know the full wording, but I don't think it matters if C.J. Stroud's back. The Titans are not a good team. And the Texans, in my opinion, are a good team. So give me Houston to beat Tennessee. Then we got a rematch. We're in the 4 o'clock window. We got the Bengals versus the Chiefs. Obviously, a very different game than it has been before. No Joe Burrow. For Cincinnati, it's Jake Browning. And, of course, Patrick Mahomes is still on the Chiefs, but he has no receivers. He has no receivers. And, as you can tell, the Chiefs are struggling a bunch. This game's in Arrowhead. Cincinnati kind of fell back to earth on Saturday against Pittsburgh. Jake Browning, maybe his Lynn Sandy run is over. I think it is. Gave me the Chiefs to beat the Bengals and bounce back after a bad loss against Las Vegas. Then we got Broncos versus Chargers. In Denver, the Chargers are pathetic. So are the Broncos. The Chargers are a little more pathetic, I guess, in Denver. Easton Stick, whatever. The Chargers were close with Buffalo. That's all I can say. But the Chargers are a disaster. Everyone's leaving. They fired Staley. I don't even know. Their coach wasn't even ever a coordinator. Chargers are a disaster. Broncos are too, but Broncos are just the better team right now. Give me the Broncos to bounce back after a bad loss to the Patriots and beat the Chargers. Next game we got here is Steelers versus Seahawks. This is another coin flip to me. It's in Seattle, so I favor Seattle a bunch, but I think Pittsburgh is going to pull off some more BS. They lose to the Patriots and Cardinals, but they're going to beat the Bengals and Seahawks in back-to-back weeks. Because that's Steeler football. Give me Pittsburgh to beat Seattle. These are awesome games. But let's do these now to end this out. We got the Eagles versus the Cardinals on Sunday. Eagles are obviously a much better team than the Cardinals. I don't think the Cardinals are a pushover, per se. But Eagles, if the Eagles lose this game, I don't even know what's going to be happening in Philadelphia. If the Eagles lose this game, I don't know. Yeah, they'll beat Arizona, I think, hopefully. I mean, hopefully not for my sake, but hopefully for the sake of the city of Philadelphia. They'll beat Arizona. Jonathan Gannon. Maybe Jonathan Gannon, being a former D coordinator in Philly, has input on the Eagles that no one else has. Maybe he can scheme up and beat them. I don't think it will happen, though. Cardinals aren't good. Next game we got here, the Red Hot Rams versus the New York Football Giants. Rams coming off a mini-bye. They just played the Saints on Thursday Night Football. And the Giants are coming off a loss against the Eagles, which you could really make an argument they got robbed. But I think the Rams are going to beat the Giants. Rams is a better team. They're red hot right now. As Niners fans, I am really scared of the Rams. I do not want to see them in the playoffs, and I don't want them to be playing. I don't want anything to be on the line in Week 18 for Niners Rams. I'm scared of them. I'm going to admit. And I think they're going to beat New York here. Next game we got here, we got the 49ers against the Commanders. The Commanders are absolutely terrible. They gave up, 33 points to the Jets? The Jets. Yeah. Their defense is terrible. I think the Niners will put up at least 40 on them, and they're going to kill them like 40-10. Niners, it doesn't help that the Commanders say the Niners are playing with a chip on their shoulder after what happened on Christmas against Baltimore. So I think the Niners are not just going to beat the Commanders, they're going to absolutely murder the Commanders. Next game we got here, Saints against Buccaneers. This is a big game for the sad NFC South. If Tampa wins and Atlanta loses, I believe Tampa clinches the NFC South. Don't call me on that, but I believe if Tampa wins and Atlanta loses, and Atlanta, you see here, plays the Bears, I think Tampa would clinch, and I think Tampa is going to win this game. I think Tampa will beat New Orleans. They may win. They may clinch the South even with just a win. But no, Tampa is just a better team than New Orleans. Baker Mayfield's balling out. Love to see it. Baker Mayfield's balling out, and the Saints are just garbage. Give me Tampa. New Orleans, especially since it's in Tampa. Next game we got here, Falcons are in the NFC South. They have a chance to win it, but this is a tank bowl. It is a tank bowl, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to pick the Bears to beat the lowly Falcons. Falcons are just, they had a nice win against Indianapolis. I just don't like them. Arthur Smith, not good. Give me the Bears to beat the Falcons. Then the last game we got here, we got Sunday Night Football. The Packers versus the Vikings. This is definitely a weird game. Vikings are injured the hell and back. They're starting Nick Mullins. They lost T.J. Hawkinson for the season, and the Packers have a defense ran by Joe Barry. And they just gave 30 points to the Panthers. So this is another pick 'em for me. I'm going to pick the Packers to beat the Vikings. That game's just a 50-50 shot to me. And that's it for the Week 17 picks. So to recap, I have the Browns winning, the Raiders winning, the Ravens winning, the Bills winning, the Texans winning, the Chiefs winning, the Broncos winning, the Jaguars winning, the Steelers winning, the Cowboys winning, the Eagles winning, the Rams winning, the Niners winning, the Buccaneers winning, the Bears winning, and then the Packers. being the Vikings, and these are what the standings look like right now. If this happens, Baltimore would clinch the 1 seed in the AFC, and the Dolphins and Bills game in next week will be for the AFC East. Chiefs will clinch the West. And then in the NFC, Niners would still be in track to win the NFC. Eagles and Cowboys will both still be in contention. Detroit will not be in contention. And Tampa Bay would win the NFC South. And that's all I got here. So leave down your picks down below in the comments.